I had to go vote in another committee. File item number 5, AB 21 Bonta, being presented, I guess, part of the team by Dr. Wood. Sir, thank you, and for working hard. Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair and members. This AB 21 is before you. First of all, thank you for taking this up. I know this is unusual to take up an AB in this session, so I really appreciate the opportunity to present.
We're all in this together.
God bless you, Mr. Chair. As many of you know, the Medical Marijuana Regulation Safety Act was passed by this body and signed by the governor last year. The MMRSA created a requirement for local jurisdictions to develop regulations for the cultivation of medical marijuana by March 1st, 2016, or relinquish that authority to the state. Since the MMRSA was signed by Governor Brown in October, many cities and counties have rushed to put in place bans on medical marijuana as a placeholder to meet the March 1st requirement. But MMRSA was never intended for that date to be in the final product. It was inadvertently left in my bill. In some local jurisdictions, the March 1 deadline is prompting them to pass straight bans prohibiting all marijuana activity, which has restricted primary caregiver and patient access to medical marijuana. As recently as last night, 3 more cities passed bans on all marijuana activities, citing March 1st as the primary reason. Given the upcoming date, there needs to be an urgent cleanup bill to resolve the inadvertent drafting error contained in the MMRSA. My colleagues and I want to allow cities and counties sufficient time to come up with thoughtful regulations on medical marijuana and not placeholder bans that would restrict patient and primary caregiver access to their medicine. At the end of the day, I made a commitment to address the March 1st issue, and AB 21 represents honoring that commitment. There is no registered opposition to this simple bill. Indeed, we have the support of the League of Cities, the police chiefs, CSAC, RCRC, Urban Counties of California, and the industry. I know there's been a lot of discussion about 2 other issues I also committed to address in my letter to the Assembly Journal. One issue regarding the Department of Fish and Wildlife Authority fee is contained in AB 1575, a cleanup bill in the Assembly. The other issue regarding primary care and patient access is being addressed, and I have had recent conversations as recent as last night with ACLU, DPA, representatives from RCRC, CSAC, and the urban counties to address this issue of concern to both houses. The primary care patient issue is an important issue with differing opinions from a variety of stakeholders and deserves a robust and thorough discussion. I'm committed to moving forward on this. I've had conversations with Senator Hernandez, whose committee this bill has been referred to, should we pass today. He's asked that we delay hearing my bill 1 week to give additional time to work through these concerns. And hopefully,
okay with that?
Pardon?
You okay?
I am okay. I'm okay with that. And hopefully we can come to a resolution that will serve the needs of both houses. So I'm asking the committee to honor my commitment and address one of those issues today by moving AB 21 forward. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Doctor. Others in support?
Mr. Chair and members, Tim Cromartie on behalf of the League of California Cities. Currently, many jurisdictions are rushing to ban medical marijuana cultivation specifically because of the March 1st deadline. The main reason is that many cities are not capable of devising the complex cultivation ordinances given the time allowed. It requires research, community input, vetting by city attorneys that such regulations require if they are to be effective and enjoy the support of a community's citizens. We've been educating our members on this change in the law. We have advised them that the best way to ensure to protect their local authority is to enact a ban and have it in effect as of March 1st. As we developed this messaging, we strongly considered asking them evaluating whether or not a moratorium would suffice as an alternative, knowing that bans would be unpopular in some areas. The answer came back no, because it was not clear to our attorneys that a moratorium would be sufficient to pass the litmus test of a bona fide local regulation for purposes of avoiding state preemption. We have consistently made clear that such bans can be considered placeholder ordinances to be revisited at such time as the local city council feels it has a viable regulatory proposal on which it can take action. The League is confident, based on communications we have had from our member cities in recent weeks, that at the rate at which cities are banning will drop off dramatically if this deadline is removed from statute. We urge you to support AB 21.
Very good. Thank you. Others in support?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members. My name is Jan Arbuckle. I'm council member for the city of Grass Valley. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. On December 8th, the Grass Valley City Council, in a 5-0 vote, chose to direct staff to draft an emergency ordinance for a total ban on commercial marijuana cultivation, dispensaries, and deliveries within the city limits. The city chose this course of action to ensure local control. In addition, we formed an ad hoc committee to reach out to our constituents in order to craft a well-thought-out ordinance to regulate cultivation that will be a good fit for our community. Currently, we have 3 public workshops scheduled in the upcoming months to accomplish this. At the end of the meeting, at the end of that December 8th meeting, everyone on both sides of the issue were very pleased with what we had put forward. I am fully confident that the emergency ordinance will be enacted prior to the March 1st deadline. This continues to be the right course of action to maintain local control for our rural city. I want to thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions about our process.
Thank you. Others in support? Support?
Chair and members, Jonathan Feldman with the California Police Chiefs Association. We'd like to align ourselves with the comments from the League of Cities and add that Cal Chief's role in crafting the regulatory framework for medical marijuana last year centered on our police departments being able to trace, track, and verify the legal operations of the medical marijuana industry. Towards that goal, maintaining local control was essential so that individual cities and their police departments can retain the authority to address specific and unique public safety, health, and welfare concerns through local ordinances. And as the League said, crafting a thoughtful and comprehensive ordinance on something as complex as the cultivation of medical marijuana takes time, which this bill will provide by eliminating the March 1st deadline. Cal Chiefs appreciates Assemblymember Wood's follow-through on his promise to address this specific issue and are in support of the bill.
Thank you. Others in support?
Mr. Chairman and members, Paul Smith with the Rural Counties Association, where we represent the overwhelming amount of the cultivating counties in the state. We strongly support Mr. Wood's bill. C4 is incredibly confusing in the county council's world, just as it is for the city attorney's world. We believe the appropriate thing is to act as soon as possible to remove that ambiguity. Then we can continue down the process of doing some responsible cultivation ordinances to meet the spirit of the MMRSA. And so we strongly urge the committee to move the bill forward.
Sir.
Hezekiah Allen on behalf of the California Growers Association. Thanks for the opportunity today. I want to offer our strong support for the legislation. This is a very difficult piece of legislation for us. The patients' rights issue and the March 1st deadline are 2 of our core, most critical legislative priorities today. We want to thank the author for moving forward on the deadline. Look forward to working with Senate Health and the committee next week to get amendments figured out. Thank you.
Excellent. Those who want to add on, just if there's something, I don't want to just limit to your name. If there's something in additional points you want to make that haven't already made, make them. Otherwise, don't repeat something as has been said. Sir.
Mr. Chairman, other members, Paul Yoder, Shaw Yoder, Antwi, on behalf of our local government clients, several of which are in Mr. Wood's district, I just want to thank the legislature for expediting this bill. Thank you.
Maureen Pineda with the United Cannabis Business Alliance out of Southern California. We represent manufacturers, dispensaries, and cultivators, so in support, and we look forward to working with Senator Hernandez to reach a solution for next week.
Very good.
Hi, Karen Leggett, and I went to 2 city councils, Board of Supervisors meetings yesterday on the same issue. Yuba County, they had the sheriff come in because the pot people were so aggressive and arguing and putting their hands in the supervisors' faces, they left the room and had 5 sheriffs show up. In Oroville, that they did 3 components, and they passed all 3, but they had one on the agricultural part they was not familiar with. But I don't know if they said yes or no because I had to leave. But there, the pot people was arguing about why are they using helicopters to go over their properties. So in reality, the pot people in Yuba County and in Oroville, they're not wanting to comply because in Yuba County, not one is registered. In our county, as being a medical marijuana patient or a grower, not one, they're in violation. And now they're trying to take us to court. With this bill, they want to get it done before our court date, I believe the end of the month. The Yuba County has a court date pending for the pot growers because they want to get it in so the judge will go for them if they extend it further.
Thank you so much.
So I thought I'd give you our input. I've been
very
going to
good.
different cities and counties to talk to them.
Great, thank you so much. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Paul Gonzalez representing the city of Thousand Oaks, would like to thank the author and ask for your support.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Viviana Becerra on behalf of the California Cannabis Operators League, Medical Investors Group, and CalCan Holdings, and strong support. Thank you.
Nicolo DeLuca here on behalf of Oakland Mayor Libby Schaff in support.
Thank you.
Nate Bradley from CCIA in strong support of the bill. I just would like to mention that we recognize the ACLU's and DPA's concerns.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, members, Jolene DeVores here on behalf of the urban counties of California in strong support. Urge the committee to move the bill forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members, David Jones on behalf of the City of Sacramento. Thank the author in strong support of the bill.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members, Karen Keene on behalf of the California State Association of Counties in strong support.
Thank you so much.
Brendan Ryan on behalf of Community Services in support.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, David Argudo, council member, City of La Puente, strong support.
Wow, thank you for coming up. Thank you. Any in opposition? Hearing and seeing none. Any questions? Oh, opposition. Here we go. Yes.
Natasha Minsker on behalf of the ACLU of California. I hate to begin by disagreeing with Dr. Wood, but we have registered our opposition to the bill as drafted, and we remain opposed unless amended. Let me explain why. The last sentence of subsection G, which is in the bill before you, was also included in the medical marijuana regulatory package by mistake. Everyone agrees that this is a drafting error. That sentence, for the first time, puts into statutory law legislative authority for local jurisdictions to completely ban seriously ill patients from growing or possessing medical marijuana. That sentence is inconsistent with the Compassionate Use Act passed by the voters, and it is inconsistent with the 2004 medical marijuana program enacted by this body. The parties who benefit by this mistake are fighting very hard to keep this in law. And I want to make sure you know who is harmed by this mistake. The flyer that was just handed out tells you about Joan, Susan, and Diana. These are three women who live every day in excruciating pain. Their doctors have prescribed medical marijuana to ease their suffering. But because they live in Fresno County, which bans seriously ill patients from growing or possessing medical marijuana, they are denied the medicine they need. If you reenact subsection G with the last sentence as currently drafted, these are the people who will suffer. And by suffer, I mean experience excruciating pain every day of their life. Our preferred solution is to delete the last sentence, which everyone agrees was not supposed to be in the bill. But there are other solutions, and we have worked very hard with representatives of local jurisdictions to craft a compromise. We have shared that compromise with Dr. Wood and members of the Senate staff, and we are committed to continuing to work on a solution. But it is important and critical that you know that if you want to stop the local bans, it is not enough to simply delete the date. You must also correct the statutory language which for the first time authorizes those local bans, or they will continue. I do want to thank Dr. Wood. This mistake is not his doing. This was not his fault, but he has taken responsibility for fixing it, and I know this has been difficult, and we are committed to continuing to work with him to find a solution and with all of the legislators. But we must find a solution, or these women will continue to suffer. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Glenn Backus for Drug Policy Alliance. We are opposed to the bill as currently amended, as currently drafted, committed to working with the author and local governments, law enforcement, and the Senate to craft a solution that protects the right of patients to take care of themselves. That's all we're working for, is whether a patient should be able to take care of themselves consistent with their doctor's orders. Thank you.
We have questions of the committee. Senator Laura.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank Mr. Wood for his leadership on this issue. I know we have been working for almost a year now on this issue, and I know this isn't your doing. I agree with the ACLU 100%, but I also want to just kind of share a couple thoughts, given that I was in the part of the working group that reached a compromise, and this is my last opportunity to be able to talk about the issue because I'm not on Health Committee. But again, just to clarify, at the end of the session, the legislature, we did pass the medical marijuana regulations with the commitment from the authors that we would clean up the erroneous provisions inadvertently kept in AB 243. The letter to the journal that Assemblyman Wood wrote clearly states that we're going to introduce cleanup legislation. Under the current law, local jurisdictions can ban the cultivation of medical marijuana by patients for personal use and can even ban the possession of medical marijuana by patients. I think that goes against what we were trying to achieve here. And so there is concern that if we don't, there's concern that if we don't fix this immediately, the licensing error, commercial cultivators will be able to grow anywhere, and if there isn't a local ordinance. And I just want to make sure that that's incorrect, because growers will first need to get a license from the state food and agriculture and ag in order to grow, and the state is not handing out licenses and won't be handing out licenses for years. So the second fix to return to patients the right to possess and to grow their medicine as granted by the voters through the initiative is urgently needed in this bill. And I know there's going to be discussions about creating some sort of compromise when it reaches Health Committee. And so I want to thank you, Mr. Wood, for allowing us to even have that discussion. Again, understanding that this is not your doing, it was our mistake. And so for me, the important thing is to ensure that patients have access and that we are not inadvertently taking away people's medicines, which the voters granted that to the states. And I respect the city's jurisdiction to be able to put restrictions on this, and I actually support that to a certain extent. But I want to be able to stay true to the will of the voters, to give people the opportunity to buy their medicine, to cultivate it, and not to increase. What we're going to do here is continue to criminalize something that the voters have already approved, and that goes against what we've done here in the Senate. So I just wanted to make those comments. And again, thank you, Mr. Wood, for allowing us to have this discussion and to agree to work with the ACLU on a compromise.
Thank you, Senator. Dr. Hernandez.
Yes, I'd like to also dovetail on what Senator Lara said. I know Assemblymember Wood and I had a conversation. He's willing to hold the bill over if we can't resolve it by today's hearing for another week because it's an urgency. It doesn't follow the normal policy deadlines that we have to deal with, but also to deal with the letter to the editor. We're going to deal with all those issues. So I appreciate the fact that he's willing to.
Letter to the file?
Letter to the file, not letter to the journal.
Letter to the editor.
Yeah. Letter to the file to the journal. But anyway, and I agree with Senator Lara with regard to it's the will of the people, it's within the Constitution, it's the voters, whether we agree, disagree, but I'm looking forward to continuing to work with this issue and see how we can resolve it, and he has my commitment to work forward with this. So anyway, I want to thank Assemblymember Wood, and at this time, I think it'll get out because it hasn't been heard in my committee. I'm not going to vote for it, but I'm confident that you should have the votes. If not, I'll come back and we'll. But I will lay off today.
But it seems to me that, from what I can gather from these bits and pieces of the discussion I picked up, I don't think there's anybody that's objecting to the end game to make the corrections that were unintended. We're really in this procedural conundrum because of the timeline of this March 1st date, urgency legislation, what would the impact be? And so these things, you know how to work this out. You can figure it out. It's pretty. I mean, it seems to me that I didn't detect from any of the authors, from Dr. Wood or anybody, that they have any objection. It's just a process and a leverage question, if you will, and how do you move these pieces and parts, which certainly I think you can do. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody working hard together on this thing. And I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Any further questions from the members? Bill moved, and this is moving to Health Committee, correct? Correct. Okay. We have a motion. Any further opposition? I apologize to make sure. Any closer?
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate the comments from the senators. Just a clarification. The opposition from the Drug Policy Alliance, from ACLU, is about the primary care, how we handle that particular issue. What I meant to say was that there is no objection, there is no registered opposition to removing the March 1st deadline. There is no opposition to that at all. So I'm committed to working through the other issues. I've been committed to that from the very beginning. I am a man of my word. That's my letter to the Journal, and I will follow through with that. It's just we're trying to figure out how the best way to do
process
get it done. So
Very
thank
good.
you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. The measure's been moved. Secretary, oh, sir, yeah, please.
Meantime, if I was a local government official, wouldn't you put something on the agenda in February? Because sometimes things happen.
Of course you would.
Right.
Of course you would.
I just don't want people to assume because it passed this committee
Right.
that that deadline has gone away.
The law. We're just trying to correct it.
It's still, there's a lot of ifs here.
That's right.
We've got the other issues to deal with, the two houses, the governor's signature. So if I was a local government official, I would put it on the agenda.
Which used to be, Madam Mayor.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, file item number 5, AB 21, bond to do pass to health. Secretary, call the roll.
Hertzberg?
Aye.
Hertzberg, aye. Wynn?
Aye.
Wynn, aye. Bell? Hernandez? Laura? Laura, aye. Morlock? Morlock, aye. Pavley? Pavley, aye. 5-0.
5-0, hold it open for Senator Bell. Thank you so much, Doctor. Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate everything. Thank you.
Okay, let's open the roll on file. We got on file item number 1, SB 259 Bates. I just want clarification that this is due pass as amended to appropriations. Secretary, call the absent members.
Laura?
Due pass to appropriations, Senator Laura. This is file item number 1, SB 259 Bates. It goes to you. Aye. Okay?
Laura, aye. 6-0.
6-0, measure is out. File item number 2, Senator Bell, SB 378. This is due pass as amended to appropriations.
5.
What?
That was a 7-0. We just needed.
That was 7-0, that's out. I'm sorry, what's the next one?
This is the only one.
Only one more, SB 678, Senator Hill. This is due pass to appropriations. Secretary, open the roll.
Laura? Laura, aye. 7-0.
7-0, measures out. Anything else?
Bell. We're waiting for Bell.
We'll just hold the roll open for a minute for Senator Bell if his staff is here. This is on file item number what?
Number 5.
File item number 5, which is this last measure, AB 21. Can you guys call Senator Bell's office? He's coming? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That wasn't too bad.
No.
Yeah, he called the first one 6-0.
Here's your thing back, sir. Thank you. It's a good rule to know. I'm glad I know that.
So you called 6-0 on the first one, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, because Franny didn't vote on it. Senator Pavlik, excuse me. One, Assemblymember Bonta, Secretary, this is a due pass to Health Committee. Secretary, open the roll.
Bell? Bell, aye.
Okay.
6-0.
What?
6-0.
6-0, measures out. Committee's adjourned. Thank you, everybody.